Hello, everyone. In this chapter, we're going to talk about warehousing management. After taking this lecture, you should be able to discuss the role of warehousing in the logistics system, to learn about the public, private, contract, and multi-client warehousing, to analyze select considerations when designing warehousing facilities, to examine some prominent operational issues in the warehousing. Now let's look at the warehousing. Warehousing refers to that part of the firm's logistics system that stores products, raw materials, parts, goods in process, finished goods, at and between the points of origin and the points of consumption. This is definition. Warehousing and transportation are substitutes for each other, whereas warehousing have been referred to as transportation at 0 miles per hour. Also, you should know warehousing serves to match different rates or volumes of flow when the patterns of production and the consumption do not coincide, facilitates the regrouping function in the supply chain, involving rearranging the quantities and the assortment of the product as they move through the supply chain. Warehousing is a very important function in the supply chain management. You may say like distribution centers. Okay, distribution centers play a very important role in the logistics management and also in supply chain management. Regrouping can take place in four forms: accumulating, it involves bringing together similar stocks from different sources, allocating. It involves breaking larger quantities into smaller quantities. This is very common in transportation management. So we have the break bulk terminals. Basically, we pick up the shipment and then consolidate them into the large shipment and then use a line haul to ship them from break bulk terminal to another break bulk terminals. So this is like the bulk breaking. And assorting refer to building up a variety of different products to resell or particular customers. This is very common for back orders, for example. Sorting out, separating the product into grades and the qualities desired by different target market. We call this market segmentation based on different the customers' different preferences and the different requirements for the quality, and then we want to sort out the product into different categories and group the customer into different segments. But from supply chain perspective, we also call this supply chain segmentation. Warehousing can be provided by warehouses, distribution centers, fulfillment centers, or cross-docking facilities. Right now, like retailers, like Amazon has many fulfillment centers in the West and in the East. Also, right now, the Walmart is building their own fulfillment centers. Warehouses emphasize the storage of the products. Primarily, the purpose is to maximize the usage of available storage space. Basically, we want to look at the efficiency and utilization. In the operation management, we talk about this like a capacity planning. Also, because for warehouse, this is the strategic decisions. We wanted to look at the warehouses and then we wanted to determine the capacity. So all the decisions regarding warehouses build up is regarding strategic decisions. Distribution centers emphasize rapid movement of the product through the facility, attempt to maximize throughput. Throughput is defined as the amount of the product entering and leaving a facility in a given time period. Fulfillment centers focus on e-commerce orders, cross-docking. Cross-docking is very important the term in the supply chain management, here for logistic management as well, defined as the process of receiving product and shipping it out the same day or overnight without putting it into storage. So this is very the common practice use of using cross-stacking. I can give you a very good example. Walmart. Walmart is using cross-stacking very successfully. The key to benefits include improved service by allowing products to reach their destinations more quickly, as well as reduce inventory, carrying costs from less stock because of faster product delivery has grown due to the increased emphasis on the time reduction in supply chains. In supply chain, basically, we want to look at the two things: operational efficiency and the level of customer satisfaction. In other words, basically, we want to look at the time. We wanted to achieve the shortest time delivery. Right? Basically, we want to guarantee the on-time delivery. So this is why the time reduction is very important in supply chain management. But the cross-stacking can help logistics companies reduce delivery time and also transit time as well. So this is why cross-stacking is a very important supply chain practice in reality. Cross-docking facilities is differentiated from distribution centers by the length of time as a product is in the facility, 24 hours or less for a cross-docking facility. Design of the facility is an important consideration to facilitate the quick movement of the product. So while we need a cross-docking facility, basically we want to achieve the quick movement, the quick operations in the supply chain. This is about the product flow should be designed with a minimal amount of storage space and track doors and two or more sides. Some designs include H, L, T, U, and E configurations. This is about facility layout. I highly recommend that you go back to review something regarding layout in the operation management. Why we want to design the layout, basically we want to reduce transportation time, reduce transportation cost, and also we wanted to achieve smooth operations. The public-private contract and multi-client warehousing. We want to look at this part. An organization must also decide the proper mix in terms of warehouse ownership, owning the private warehousing, renting public warehousing, contract warehousing, multi-client warehousing. So basically, we want to talk about the type of the warehouses in the supply chain or logistic management systems. Let's look at the first one, the public warehouses. Public warehouses serve all legitimate users, require no capital investment on the user's part, so save the money, the fixed cost is low, allow users to rent space as needed, just in time, just in case, can be rented on a month-to-month basis, very flexible. Warehousing companies have responsibility for personnel decisions and regulatory issues. Warehousing labor safety practices monitored by Occupational Safety and Health Administration offer more locational flexibility and may provide specialized services. Right? This is the public warehouses. And also for public warehouses, you should know a potential drawback is a lack of control by the user. Private warehousing owned by the firm storing goods in the facility generates high fixed cost. So this is a huge difference between the public warehouses and the private warehouses. Should only be considered by the companies dealing with a large volume of inventory. Largest uses of a private warehousing are retail chain stores offered control to owner. Assumes both sufficient demand volume and stability so that the warehouse remains full. In other words, for private warehousing, they can achieve the full utilization, even for capacity, equipment, and also for the personnel. But you should know, for private warehousing, they have very high fixed cost. Potential drawbacks include high fixed cost, necessity of having high and steady demand volumes, less attractive when the interest rates are high, may reduce an organizational flexibility internally and externally. So flexibility is very important consideration in supply chain design, also for system logistical system design. Here we talk about the private warehousing. When we try to design the warehouses, we should design the flexibility into the warehousing system. Contract warehousing, used referred to as third-party warehousing or dedicated warehousing. This is very common uh, in the e-commerce. For example, Amazon working with UPS, FedEx, because UPS, FedEx, they are third-party logistic providers. They have their own warehouses. And also for Dell, HP, they also working with UPS, FedEx. They use UPS warehouses. So this is the contract warehousing, refer to a long-term mutually beneficial arrangement, which provide a unique and specially tailored warehousing and logistics services exclusively to one client, where the vendor and the client share the risk associated with the operation. And also, you should know the less costly than the private warehousing and the more costly than the public warehousing. So contract warehousing is uh, between private warehousing and public warehousing. Allows the company to focus on its core competencies, potentially offers the same degree of control as a private warehousing due to contract specifications. The next one is about multi-client warehousing. The mixes attributes of contract and public warehouses. Services are more differentiated than those in a public facility. Services are less customized than those in the contract warehousing. Services are purchased through the minimum 1 year contract. So you can see when we look at the different type of the warehouses, you should know uh, why we want to talk about them, because for some of the warehouses they have a flexibilities, they have the customization, but some warehouses they don't have a customization, they just provide the common services. So when we try to look at the type of the warehouses, you should look at different purposes of the warehouses. They are maybe designed for flexibility. Okay, they may be designed for customization. They may design for a common purpose. Multi-client warehousing are attractive to the smaller organizations. They don't have sufficient volume to build their own storage facilities. They don't have sufficient volume to justify using contract warehousing, have regular but not continuous need for specialized equipment or services, can benefit from working with other companies that have similar needs or requirements. So basically, we want to design different warehouses for different needs. Okay, so when we try to design the warehouses, we need to consider some factors. So general considerations, quantity and the character of the goods to be handled must be known. Know the purpose to be served by a particular facility. Facility with low rate of product turnover should be laid out in a manner that maximizes utilization of the cubic capacity of storage facility. Facility that emphasizes rapid product movement with limited time in storage should be configured to facilitate the flow of the product into and out of it. So basically here we talk about the two kind of design here. The first one we want to focus on the cost. The second one we focus on the rapid flow. So these are two different purposes. The second one also about the highest level of customer service. Trade-offs, absolutely. If you want to reduce the cost and at the same time you want to provide the perfect customer service, is impossible to do that. So we need to make a trade-off decisions. Trade-offs must be made among the space, labor, and the mechanization with respect to warehouse design. Basically, we want to know the trade-off between operations efficiency and customer satisfaction. Fixed versus variable slot location for merchandise. In fixed slot locations, each SKU has one or more permanent slots assigned to it. Variable slot location involves empty storage slots being assigned to incoming products based on space availability. Build out horizontal versus build out vertical, and General rule of thumb is that it is cheaper to build up than build out. Warehousing equipment costs tend to increase. Order picking versus stack replenishing functions. It is very, they are very common functions. Organizations must decide whether workers who pick outgoing orders with those who are restocking storage facilities should work at the same time or in the same area. Two stack versus a single stack layout. Generally hand receiving stocks on one side of the facility and shipping docks on the other side with goods moving between them. In one dock system, each and every dock can be used for both shipping and receiving. This is about the layout. Conventional narrow or very narrow ISOs. As ISO space increases, storage capacity decreases. Easier to operate mechanical equipment in wider ISOs reduce the chances of accidents and product damage with wider ISOs. Narrower ISOs require specialized storage and handling equipment. They are more expensive. This is about layout as well. When you design a layout, you should consider utilization of the space, equipment, and the people, and also you should consider accident, safety, and security as well. Also, you should consider the smooth flow of the materials, workers, or some other products or equipment in the warehouses. Degree of warehouse automation, this is about the technology, refers to utilizing mechanical or electronic devices to substitute for human labor. Examples include narrow axle forklifts, automated guided vehicles, automated storage retrieval systems, radio frequency identification, FRID, and others. Or they may use 3D printers. It offers the potential to reduce labor costs and improve warehouse productivity. Managers must ensure that automation results in noticeable improvement in warehouse effectiveness and efficiency. We want to use technologies to reduce the cost, and also we want to increase the flow of the products or materials or parts or the workers. Basically, we want to improve productivity, improve efficiency, improve effectiveness. Other space need, not uncommon for only approximately 20% of a facility cubic capacity to be occupied by product. Warehousing facilities set aside space for non-storage activities such as employees' washrooms, lunchrooms, office space, specialized storage for hazardous items, warehousing supplies, and many more. Lastly, we want to talk about the warehouse operations. Efficient and effective warehousing management can be an executing task. Operation in warehouses are very important to success of the supply chain or logistic management. Workforce motivation can be difficult because the work can be repetitive in nature, strenuous, and physically demanding, occasionally dangerous. So this is about safety and security of workplace. Some predominant operational issues include warehousing productivity analysis. So we're going to use some the measure to evaluate the productivity. When we talk about the productivity, basically we want to look at the input and also the output, and also we want to look at the utilization of some equipment or machines. So you analyze the productivity, safety considerations, hazardous materials, warehousing security, cleanliness, and sanitation. Warehouse productivity analysis. Productivity is a measure of output divided by input. I just talked about it. We should look at some of the factors for productivity. We can use some of the measures to evaluate the productivity. Examples of representative measures include the cases shipped per person, product line shipped per person, pallets shipped per person, average warehouse capacity used, forklift capacity used. Safety consideration. Warehousing facilities can be dangerous workplaces. Forklifts account for 1 out of 6 workplace deaths. Warehouse safety can be influenced by governmental regulations, but also when we try to design warehouses or to try to look at operation in the warehouses, we should look at government regulations, for example, like environmental regulations and safety regulations, security regulation as well. In the US, safety standards have been set for warehousing equipment operations are enforced by OSHA. Safety considerations. Warehouse safety categories include employee, property, and motor vehicles. Hazardous materials includes explosives, flammable liquid, flammable solid. Government regulation often requires shipping documents indicating the hazardous materials. Many countries also require the use of safety data sheets. And then next one is about warehousing security. Example, the potential threat include theft, pilferage, heat, humidity, vandalism, fire, loss of electricity. Warehousing security focuses on protecting products and preventing their theft can be enhanced by focusing on people, facilities, and the processes. Cleanliness and the sanitation issues, particularly important in the many industries such as the food service industry and the healthcare industry, can have a positive impact on employee safety, morale, and productivity, while also reduce employees' turnover, require common sense and due diligence.